intends.
Think you know.
The fact that he's, they've lost 4 projects, significant projects, the studio. There's obviously the reputational and emotional distress harm. He's got 2 little kids that pay attention to what goes on in the world. His wife is devastated, and there's others involved in this too that have lost significant business and personal relationships.
I've said it a million times that you raised the Titanic in this case because, but for Bryan Freedman, Justin Baldoni would have been crushed in this matter. And that's where it was headed. And it was headed for him to be crushed. When you see the kinds of things that were left on the cutting room floor, literally, in that New York Times article, it's infuriating.
But that's against the New York Times. And I get that, and that is kind of separate. I guess what I'm wondering is if Blake Lively, the last thing she wants is to take the stand. She doesn't want her husband to take the stand. She doesn't want Taylor Swift to take the stand, nor do they want to take the stand. So if they came to you and just said, we will basically call this a massive misunderstanding, can we just drop it? Would you entertain it?
what he's preparing to use next.
I mean, he was called a sexual predator. So are they saying he's still a sexual predator, but it's a misunderstanding?
You know, Harvey, when you're in the middle of representing one of these people who's in the eye of a storm, and Brian's done it a zillion times, I've done it a fair amount of times, you need to be vindicated. Because at the end of the day, you're not, no amount of money will get you back to square zero. To your point, Harvey, as many people didn't know Baldoni as they knew Lively. However, Lively, be careful what you wish for, has, the public has gone full Amber Heard on her. And Baldoni could have been defined, as Brian just said, as the sexual predator, but for the magnificent job he's done here. So, it's a horrible body blow to have to take and have, can't leave your house. I don't know, and I haven't asked you this, Brian, but I'm going to assume he's got round the clock security and his family's had to be relocated and the whole bit.
I mean, there's certainly that invasion of privacy that goes on, but I think it's not so much having something to do with me that turned the tide. I mean, the reason to put the information out there is just because of who he is. It's the truth. It's just the truth, and the reality is that had there been these horrible things, and had there been these horrible text messages, had there been this horrible information, that stuff would have.
Bryan Freedman is not the kind of attorney moving forward.
When you saw, Ryan, make light of the situation, I guess, try to find some humor in all this.
I'm unaware of anybody, frankly, whose wife has been sexually harassed and has made jokes about that type of situation.
Yeah.
I can't think of anyone who's done anything like that. And so it surprised me.
So I got to tell you, all I'm thinking in my head is one word: deposition. Because when Ryan Reynolds sits for a deposition,
Right.
if it
Tell
gets
us
that far,
Tell us about when you went in for the meeting and going over the script with SNL.
well, what I'm thinking
whose
is,
decision?
what I'm thinking is, what Bryan Freedman is going to say is, so you were upset that you say your wife was harassed, and he's going to say yes, and he's going to say, yet you kind of made a joke of it, or made a joke of it.
Well,
that's what he'll
more
say.
than asking Ryan, he's going to put that question to Blake because she's sitting there, she's party to it, in knowing and reacting to the
Smile.
lines.
You're going to do it
right.
with both, but you're going to do it with Ryan.
Right.
You're
But my point is, did you say to Blake, you
were
said
sitting there, you
so
co-signed
upset.
that. You
right.
co-signed.
Blake Lively's courtroom win wasn't just a legal moment, it was a PR spectacle, and that might have been the point all along. According to Bryan could backfire. And if that happens, Blake's meticulously crafted storyline might face a reckoning all its own.
This comment from Bryan Freedman: the decision to amend our lawsuit was a logical next step due to the overwhelming amount of new proof that has come to light. This fresh evidence corroborates what we knew all along, that due to pure egotistical reasons, Miss Lively and her entire team colluded for months to destroy reputations through a complex web of lies, false accusations, and manipulation of illicitly received communications. The ongoing public interest in this case online has ironically shed light on the undeniable facts pertaining to the New York Times and how heavily Miss Lively and her representatives were not only deeply involved in the attempted takedown and smear campaign of Mr. Baldoni, Wayfair Studios, and their teams, but that they themselves initiated it. Now, what this actually means is that all those TikToks and metadata that we've been reporting on, and so many of you guys have been reporting on, it's been making a difference. His team's getting it, and it's affecting this case. It's bringing new evidence to light. So we should not stop. We are not harassing. We are doing our homework. And I think Blake Lively and team are very terrified by it. And that all those TikToks, metadata, etc., are the reason for this amended complaint. And in a brilliant move, I got to say, by their
reveal what really happened. A campaign to tarnish Lively after she alleged that Justin Baldoni, her co-star and director, and Jamie Heath, the producer, had engaged in misconduct while shooting the film.
Now, again, keyword there, the alleged smear campaign, but listen to what Megan herself, the author, says.
In a legal complaint Lively filed on Friday, private text messages and other documents that we've obtained reveal what really happened.
So right there, Chris, that's not an opinion. That's not a maybe. That's not a what really happened. Now, is that going to be problematic for them moving forward?
Well, it's significant. So in the United States, where this lawsuit is pending, it's very difficult to sue a journalist, media outlet, because we have this First Amendment protection for the press. And that's super important because powerful people, would be able to destroy a journalist or media outlet by suing them for defamation or libel and keep them from reporting the truth. And so we have given, as a matter of policy, massive protections for the media and other journalists to fairly comment on stories that have not been proven to be true yet.
Legal rulings are rarely as simple as a headline. Freedman has made it clear that this isn't just about a court ruling anymore. By calling out what he refers to as Blake's false victory tour, he's shifted the focus to her only seen the beginning.